Feeling toasty? Let's beat the heat and keep the planet cool, all without sacrificing work vibes. Is the AC really a money-sucking monster? Not, if we work together.
Air conditioners remove the heat from your home, cooling down the room in a process called refrigeration cycle. It's the same cycle as, you guessed it, the fridge or the refrigerator. Our home ACs consist of two main parts, an indoor unit and an outdoor unit. Part of the outdoor unit includes the compressor, basically the heart of the system. Connecting the indoor and outdoor units are coils which contain a special chemical called a refrigerant. The refrigerant is responsible for absorbing the heat from in the room and expelling it outside. This is what keeps the space cool. The compressor requires the most energy and power out of the whole system. That's because it's responsible for moving the refrigerant between the coils. So if you're setting your thermostat lower, the compressor needs to work harder and longer, using up more energy in the process. And this energy use has unfortunate consequences. The refrigerants themselves are made up of hydrofluorocarbons, or HFCs, harmful greenhouse gases that contribute to global warming.
We run the air conditioning system at different temperatures. So we start off at 22, and then we'll move to 23, and then we'll move to 25. And at each point, we will measure the power consumed by the air conditioning system. These are the two components of the air conditioning system. The sum of the powers of both forms the total electrical power of the air conditioning system.
And don't mind these guys. There are thermal dummies. Their job is to simulate the heat human bodies emit indoors. This is also known as cooling load.
Think of cooling load as the amount of heat that is generated in the space. The more heat sources there are in the room, the load is more for the aircon to cool the space.
Right now we're at 22 degrees. We are going to increase that to 23 now.
Correct, that is right.
Let's go for it.
Let me set 23. I have to change the temperature for both the rooms. We are going to change the temperature to 25 degrees Celsius. The results are in.
I'm excited.
We have this bar graph that shows in red the power consumption when the temperature is set to 22 degrees Celsius, and then blue when it's set to 23, and then green when it's set to 25. We have 9% energy savings when we go from 22 to 23. And then we have 34% energy savings when we go from 22 to 25.
That to me is quite substantial, especially from a household expenses point of view.
You will indeed save a lot more energy. For every degree increase in temperature, you save a huge chunk of your electricity bill for the aircon.
How do lower temperatures consume more energy?
The air conditioning system, its job is to take the heat from inside your living space and throw it out into the atmosphere. So by setting a lower temperature, it's doing a lot of work to cool your space down to 21. It has to throw that much more heat out into the atmosphere. Whereas if you set it to 25, it does less work. So the analogy one might think of is having a pickup truck and loading it with a lot of stuff and then asking it to travel at, let's say, 60 kilometers per hour on the highway. It has to do a lot more work because it's heavily loaded. Now, if it is partially loaded, then it can travel at ease and get better mileage also.
To find out, I'm doing a special experiment with these researchers. Hi, ladies. So how are we conducting this experiment?
So we are going to get participants to run through some cognitive tasks at two different temperature settings, one at 21 degrees Celsius and at 25 degrees Celsius. And we're going to look at how they perform on these tasks on both accuracy as well as reaction times as a proxy for productivity.
After an hour solving these visual puzzles, the results are out.
In the warmer condition at 25 degrees, we see that people were actually performing faster compared to 21 degrees.
All the participants performed the tests with similar levels of accuracy. But when it came to reaction times, those who took the tests when the room temperature was set at 25 degrees Celsius had reaction times that were 10% faster than when they took the same tests in a room set at 21 degrees Celsius. That's because our body regulates its internal temperature, keeping it as close to 36.9 degrees as possible. That's the temperature our body functions the best. So at colder temperatures, the body has to work harder and spend more energy to generate heat. That could leave us with less energy for mental tasks. So is 25 degrees the magic number? With hybrid cooling, perhaps we can go even higher. But I suspect it may be a while before we can turn off our addiction to lower aircon temperatures. As for me, if it can save me money and keep me cool at the same time, consider me a fan.